To me, optimism is a word. The word optimism, it means the tendency to look on the bright side of things. And the second definition, it's the belief in things that they're going to work out fine. I have a word, F-E-E-L, feel. It's an acronym. So each of my letters has a meaning, a word behind it. I'd like to explain it. I want to share this with you. The first letter, F, faith. Faith is the belief without having proof. Trusting yourself. Faith is trusting God that He will give us the comfort we need in times of trouble and even bad experiences, that I will have comfort. I have to be optimistic that I will have, in troubled times, I will make it through. The next letter, E, is for effort. It takes effort to do something, to be successful at something. In work, you have to put a lot of effort into it. You can't do the same thing and think you'll be successful. You have to add more effort. You cannot be lazy. You cannot postpone things. The time, an optimist is going to be consistent and do it. The next E is for endurance. Endurance means continuing on. It takes power to go to the end, persistence, to go until you reach success. Don't stop. Keep going. Be stubborn. Determined. Put it in your mind, I won't quit. I'm going to reach my goal. The final letter, L, I want to tell you, when you have the first three, faith, effort, endurance, the result, it all applies to life. F-E-E-L, L for life. You'll have a good life. Your future will be bright. I'll have a job, I believe. I'm optimistic about my job. I know it will happen. I have a story, an example. This man, he was a doctor. It's a story about a man who was a doctor. He lived in London. And he was a medical doctor, very busy man. He didn't have a lot of time to relax and take it easy, always busy on the go, and was a medical doctor. What happened? He became sick. Somehow he became sick. He wasn't well. He went to another doctor, was checked out, said, you need a 6-month period of rest. He sent him, you've got to go and rest. All right, that man did. He ended up leaving London. He went to Scotland. And he stayed on this farm, very isolated farm out in the country, just animals, cows and chickens. And the man was bored, senseless, just looking at these animals. He wasn't used to it. He had an idea. Long ago, he remembered that he and his wife, he told his wife, I really want to write a novel. I think I can write a book. I want to. And he was thinking about that. His wife, she always kind of avoided the issue. She knew he wouldn't do it. So she would always just nod and say, yeah. But so at this time he said, I'm going to do it. He went out to the store and bought a bunch of 10-cent paperbacks and pencils, bought his material that he'd need to get to work, and he came back to his room. And he started writing. And the first day, the entire day, he did accomplish absolutely nothing. He had nothing written down. After week by week, little by little, he would have a few words here, a few words there. Finally he had a chapter, a couple chapters. He mailed them off to his secretary, sent them down to her, and she typed them, got them back. Well, one day he got them back. And he read it. He said, this is junk. No one would read this stupid story. It's a lousy story. He was so mad, angry. He was on fire. He went outside and threw it in an ash heap. Just put all his works and material that he'd gotten. It was a rainy day, foggy, misty. Threw it in an ash heap. Took a walk. He walked down the road past the farmer. The neighbor down the road, he knew this man. He'd known him for a couple months. He knew he was a writer. He admired him. He's an optimistic person. He liked him. So here he comes walking. He's mad. He said, I threw this away. I'm not going to do it immediately. You could see the man's respect change for him. The farmer told him, he said, see this? And the man at the time, he was digging when he got there in a bog. It was a real marshy area of his property. He wanted it to become a field. He always knew it would be, could be. He was digging a ditch, draining the water off this bog. And he'd done it, you know, he believed in it could possibly, and it would be, a field. He said, you know, my dad dug, I dig. I can't give up. I cannot stop. And it's endurance, it's persistence. And I believe it will happen if I keep going and don't quit. I will do it, I'm going to use my efforts. And I believe I will have steel here one day. I'm going to. And the writer, he looked at him and he just stopped in cold. And he went home, got in his ash heap, picked up those papers, brought them into the kitchen, laid them out, put them out where they would dry, and he started writing. He wouldn't quit. He had that in his mind, the example of the neighbor. Finally got it finished. It's off my back. Sent it to a publisher, and nearly 6 months were gone. He went around to the neighbors to say goodbye to everyone, and in the town, the community. So he ended up going into the post office, walked in, and the man at the post office said, wait, I have a letter for you. So he got this letter, and he opened it. It said, it was from his publisher, that I need to speak with you. And he ended up finding out, the publisher said, the story was a great success. It's been printed since that time, 17 different languages. It became a movie, a Hollywood movie. It was a success. He became famous. And the lesson he learned from it is one we can all use. Optimism, faith, endurance, persistence resulted in a wonderful life. That is the lesson that I put in my mind. I think that that story aside, for me, how it applies to me, you know, I work. I want to use these 4 parts, SEEL, the acronym, in my own life. And I believe I will have a successful and a satisfying life.